Hi everyone, this is Jennifer from JE Photography Design. Today I'm going to show you how to take this digital backdrop that I made, which is the, I'm going to call it the Polar Express, or it's just like a locomotive. I'm going to show you how to take that, add in your subject, and make it a fun little holiday festive type image. So, to start, you open your image, and you'll see over on the side you have background, which obviously is your background, and you'll see a snow overlay, which you can turn off and on. The snow overlay is set, if you look up at the top, well, it was when I made it. Oh yeah, set to screen here. So anytime you have an overlay like this, you want it set to screen. If it has a black background, set it to screen and it hides the black. Anyways, that was a side note. Next, I don't actually have a picture of my son right now. He's the one that wanted the Polar Express picture. So I just grabbed a stock photo online of this little girl. It's kind of what I want it to look like. So that's what I've done. So I'm just going to do a really quick selection of her and bring her in to my photo. So over here, I'm picking my selection tool. And I'm just going to select her. And while I do this, I'm just going to pause the video so you don't have to watch all this. Okay, I have her all selected, so now I'm going to go up to Select and Mask, and I'm going to click on that. And bear with me, my computer's super slow. It's like in dinosaur mode today. I don't know why. Maybe I've worked it too hard all week. Who knows? Okay. So, I want to, at the very bottom where it says Output 2, I want to change that to New Layer with Layer Mask. And click OK. I'm not going to change anything else right now over in the side there. So now all I'm going to do is I have my layer with my Layer Mask selected. I clicked on my Move tool. I'm just going to click on the little girl, and I'm going to drag her into my photo here. And I'm going to make her bigger. So I'm just going to Control T it, or Command T on a Mac, to roughly the size I want it. Let's make it like that. And I'm going to place her there. Might be a little bit big, but you can play around with the size yourself when you're bringing your subjects in. Now, obviously she's facing the wrong way, so I want to Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal. And as you can see along the bottom and along the side, there's a little white line. So that happens when you do a select and mask. For some reason, it catches the very edges of the image or the page or whatever you want to call it. So you just have to go in and brush that off. Again, just bear with me as my dinosaur computer takes a while. Okay, so I think she's a little bit big, but I'm going to leave it like that because it's going to take forever if I start changing the size again. Okay, so I'm just changing my opacity and flow all the way up to 100. And I want my black brush. Do I want my black brush? Yes, I want my black brush. And I'm just clicked on my layer mask, and I'm just brushing off that line. Okay, and then next I actually want to bring my opacity down quite low, maybe 22%, and I just kind of want to brush off at the bottom here of her pajamas, because I don't want it, maybe 22 is too low. I don't want it like it's really a hard line, because it's supposed to be in the snow, so I just kind of brush that off a little bit. And I'm going to zoom in to 50. And as you can see around her body, there's a halo. So I am going to go around her body. I've got a soft brush, put my opacity back up. I'm using a black brush on my layer mask. And I'm just going to go in and brush the white parts off. Yeah, I know I'm taking out part of her curls, but You won't really notice that. If I was doing this for a customer or a client, I would not take the curls out. But for tutorial sake, I am, just so you can see how it looks. Because I don't like the white halo. So I'm just quickly going around her face. I'm going to pause it so I can do this, and I'll come back to you in a second. Okay, so I've got that done now. I still see a bit of a line there. Sorry, I should have got that as I was masking, but clearly I missed it. So now what we're going to do is we are going to add Shift Control N or Shift Command N on a Mac, a couple different layers. So I'm going to type this one shadow under and shadow over. And I'm going to do one more, and I'm going to call this darken. So shadow under is going to go under the girl. Shadow over goes over the girl, and darken, you'll see in a second what we're doing with that. So shadow under, we want our brush on black, and up here under normal, you want to change that to darken. And you want your opacity low, maybe around 25, and your flow around 40%. And what we're going to do is we're just going to draw a bit of a drop shadow here on the girl, underneath the girl. So this is going underneath directly. It's not going on her. Now, we want to do a shadow over top as well. So same thing, low opacity, low flow, black. We're just going to brush that on down here. Now this is going to go on top of her. And I just sometimes like to make things a bit bigger. So now darken. What we want to do is we want to darken up the back side of her, obviously, because we have the light coming from the front. So we again have low opacity, low flow, and we have it set to darken. We're going to actually move this underneath of her. So underneath her layer. So that way when we do it, it's just going to darken her, not the... Sorry, my bad. No, we want to do a clipping mask to her, not underneath. We want to do a clipping mask to her. So that way as we do it, it's only going to clip directly to her, not to the background, not to anything else. And maybe bring the flow down a little bit more. And I think like that. There we go. Okay, that's good for me for now. So next I want to do another darken. Shift Control N, another darken. But this time I want to darken her face a bit. So I'm going to zoom in to her face, say 50%. And I want my paintbrush, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the black. I don't want it black. Sorry, I'm not going to click on the black. I'm going to hold Alt, and I'm going to click on her face in here, maybe on the shadowy part. And that's going to change your color palette. So I want that shadowy beige to be on top, I should say. And now, with that color, I still have low opacity, low flow. It's still on darken. I'm just going to go in and darken her face up a little bit. Not much. And then I'm going to actually come over here and pick her cheek color. And I want to darken this up a bit. Because it's kind of bright if you ask, if you ask me, according to me, whatever. I think it's a little bit bright, so... You won't have to do this depending on how you set your light. That's just what I'm doing for now. And so if I click that off, you can see a little bit of a difference. Not much, but I'm going to actually go back in, darken, normal, bring the opacity up quite a bit, the flow almost all the way up, and I'm going to go into detail here. So again, you're going to take your time. You're going to really make sure this is crisp and clean and cut out nice, and so you can see there's a little bit over her nose and stuff. I just did it really quick when I was bringing it in. So you're going to want to make sure you go in and you kind of touch everything up. So anyways, now what we want to do is bring in the little lantern. So I just found a lantern on Google, I think it was, or on Pixabay. It's a PNG. I'm just going to bring it in. Control T. Oh, it's clipped to her. I have to unclip it. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to simply, instead of right-clicking and everything, I'm just going to drag that layer to the top. And that unclips it from where it was. And I'm going to position it so it is kind of under her hand like that, where a lantern would be held. And then we have to mask away that top part so it looks like it's in her hand. So you're just going to add a layer mask. And here you want to have 100% opacity. And you're just going to brush this away. Once you have that brushed away, again, I'm going to go quick because I'm running out of time. I'm going to add another layer, Shift Control N. And here I want my paintbrush and I color to be a very light yellow. I want it to be like a glow, and I want to have a low opacity, a low flow and a low opacity. You can play around with this, obviously, make it how you want. And I want a nice, clicking on the layer, I want a nice big round brush, and I'm just going to plop the yellow right on there. As you can see, it wasn't very bright, so I'm going to up it again, up the opacity, up the flow. Try that and see what that does. You can always make it a higher opacity, and then over in the layers panel here, you can change this opacity. Let me just bring this out, 25. And I want to make this a little bit more defined. So I'm going to actually bring this in like that. And I'm going to do another. I want another. And I want another yellow area. Obviously not that much. So this is where over here I'm going to use my opacity and I'm going to really lower it. Okay, so let me back this out, 20. So we still need to do a little bit of work at the bottom there with her shadow. So I'm going to add one more layer. I'm going to go back to black. I'm going to go back to darken. I'm going to go back to a lower opacity, lower flow. And I'm just going to brush more of a shadow on, like that. And maybe I want it to be a little bit less defined up here and there. And being mindful of where the shadows would fall. Just kind of very gradually do that. Okay. I'm running out of time. So that's pretty much what I do to bring this in. You can do some more, depending on how your lighting is, add some more shadows if you need to, using your darken tool up here, or you can always do dodge and burn. One of the tools over here is dodge and burn. I think I just saw it right here, color dodge. You can